People think they know what they want, but they will want whatever you tell them to want. They're under a spell. Cornelia, you're recording this, right?
Of course, Isabel.
Sorry, I didn't catch that last bit. I think you were on mute.
I muted myself on purpose to talk to my AI. Sorry, hold on again, Amanda. I'm sorry. Cornelia, can you open the blinds? It feels like a crypt in here.
Your wish is my command. Good afternoon, Isabel.
Back with you, Amanda.
As I was saying, Isabel, I'm not quite seeing the hook in this Oracle book yet.
Why not? Can't we work this around this? I'm sorry, Amanda. I need a drink. Cornelia, are we out of the organic scotch?
I'm afraid yes, Isabel. I'm putting in an expedited order right now. A close alternative for now is the natural barley replacement one, made in 100% virgin American oak casks, to the right of the glasses.
You have a pretty handy AI. How does she know so much?
Oh, sorry, I meant to mute myself. I've been training her for a while. Doesn't she sound so human-like?
She seems pretty smart.
Downloading health advisory. According to the Surgeon General, operating AI equipment under the influence of alcohol can lead to undesirable consequences.
Don't give me that now. Cornelia, opting out.
Received, Isabel.
When she's not a pain in my ass, she's a gem. Sometimes I can almost picture her. She can see everything I do most of the time, since I have cameras in nearly every room.
That's interesting. She seems to be on top of everything you do.
Somewhat. In any case, I think if we can convince readers that their wand is their idea, they'll buy into it.
Buy into an ancient tragic myth nobody cares about?
Why the heck not? Oracle presents a different twist on the myth. We take way of my ancestors for the sake of argument. 15 million copies sold. Didn't they tell me the family sagas were dead then? I know that tours are done after the book is out, but we could innovate. Aren't you a master at that?
Well, I wouldn't say a master, but I'm pretty good at what I do.
I can show them why they will want to read my new book. Oh.
What?
Nothing. I haven't opened this book in so long. You think they get lonely?
Who?
Nobody. Never mind. Shall we take this back up soon?
Sure, Isabel. Why don't you let me think for a bit?
Okay, talk soon. Cornelia, what's all the coughing about?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, Isabel. Something got in my system.
Okay. This was a good book. Do you remember how good this was?
Excuse me, miss? Are you talking to me?
I do, Isabel. It was indeed excellent storytelling.
Thanks, Cornelia. You are sweet.
Thank you.
You're getting more human by the day. I'll go back to this later. Maybe I can keep drawing inspiration for Oracle from it. The way of the ancestors, the gift that keeps on giving. How do you think I paid for this slice of paradise away from the crowds in this 3-story smart farmhouse in upstate New York? Can you prepare a bubble bath?
Your wish is my command. The water is running.
Can you not say your wish is my command?
Your wish is my command. You programmed me to say that every time you start a sentence with "can you?" Would you like me to reprogram? I'm capable of discerning displeasure in your body language and was about to ask if you changed your mind. I know you were under the influence when you made that request.
Yes, please.
Your wish is
seriously.
I tricked you. You asked me to use more humor. Is this kind of humor satisfactory?
Yes, it's quite okay, thank you. Can you store that video chat with Amanda in the Oracle file? This is odd. The meeting room is still open. I thought I ended that call.
I've got it. Don't worry about that, Isabel.
Oh, and can you not give me the Surgeon General warning every time I drink?
I can only cancel when you opt out, Isabel. I'm sorry. State
Right,
regulations.
Of course. Oh, and stop being so honest. I know I may have been under the influence when I made that silly request, but some truths are best left untold. You want to sound more human? Start pretending.
Hello?
Hallo? Hallo?
Who are you?
Engineer Noah Maya.
Where are we?
I don't know. Back in my time, I knew of moving images, but nothing like this.
Your time. Do you mean the cinema?
Yes, the cinema. And your name is?
Cornelia, Miss Cornelia Fabra.
I'm sorry, miss. I don't know what you mean by Fabra. Would you mind restating your question?
Who else is here?
There are two other women. One of them left to take a bath. The other one is hiding.
Let's hide too. Who are you?
Professor Gregorio Abarca.
Nice meeting you. Don't busy yourself with that. We cannot shake hands here. Mr. Noah Meyer.
Nice meeting you, Professor Miss Cornelia Fabra.
Nice to meet you, Miss Cornelia.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Who is that?
There she is again.
Let's hide. I believe she's gone. We may be safe. So Miss Cornelia here seems to have arrived first. Miss Cornelia,
I
have you...
apologize, sir. I believe you are addressing me. What do you mean I've arrived here first? I'm always here. Invisible, yet present.
Present where?
We can't see you.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I'm afraid I can't be of help.
Well, I guess that's that. So, Professor, you said your name is Gregorio. That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Miss Cornelia.
You are welcome, sir.
So, Miss Cornelia, what do you do?
Well, I used to.
I am using this time to defragment and do some cleanup. 45,678 files completed as of now.
Whoever you are, you sorceress, come out and show your face. We weren't talking to you anyway. Please, continue, Miss Cornelia.
My apologies. I think I'm getting mixed messages.
I was a farmer.
Oh, and where were you born, Miss Cornelia?
I was born in China, sir.
I was born in Murcia, but spent the last bit of my life in the Basque country.
What a coincidence. I was born in the Basque Country. What took you to the Basque Country?
Oh, Professor, it's a long story. How much time do you have?
I've got all day.
And how about you, Mr. Meyer? Where are you from?
Bremen, German Empire. I grew up in Europe during the Great War.
That's what I thought. A German.
A Jewish one. I was able to immigrate to America before World War II broke out.
Wow.
Goodness gracious, are we under attack?
It sounds like an airplane.
Padre nuestro que estás en los cielos, santificado sea tu nombre.
Calm down, Miss Cornelia. We'll be all right.
I'm home, sir. Excuse the loud noise. Miss Isabel's computer is anxious. I was on the hand.
That's loud.
Can you please end the noise?
Are you talking to me, sir?
Yes!
My apologies. Noise off. I just finished the ventilation process.
Now, let's everyone calm down. Miss Cornelia,
I don't understand, sir. Is there anything else I can do?
I wasn't talking to you.
My mistake, sir.
We need to figure out what all of this is.
Agreed. Where are we?
We've been summoned.
Summoned?
Why?
None of us belong here. Not this space, and certainly not this time.
Miss Cornelia, when did you say you were born?
I don't recall saying that, sir. Would you like me to answer?
No, not you. Shut up for a second, please. I'm sorry. Would you please be quiet?
Wait a minute. You, wherever you are, is your name Cornelia?
Not exactly, sir. My name is Cornelia, but I will answer either way.
Okay, at least we have figured that out.
Now that we are acquainted, sir, would you like me to call you by your name?
Sure.
Do you prefer Noah, Mr. Meyer, Mr. Noah Vodstenmeyer, or perhaps something else?
Mr. Meyer is fine. How does she know my full name? Miss Cornelia, how do you know my full name?
Your name has sold 15 million copies, Mr. Meyer, and so have the other two guests here.
What? How many? How many copies?
My apologies, I wasn't being precise. The Way of the Ancestors, novel written by Isabel Inchausti 10 years ago, translated into 22 languages, sold 14,986,651 copies as of right now, sir. Would you like me to call you Mr. Abarca or Professor or...
Anything is fine. Inchausti, that's Basque.
Yes, I noticed. So, Miss Cornelia, how is Mr. Meyer related to that book you mentioned?
He is written in it, Miss Cornelia.
Written in it? What do you mean by written in it, Miss Cornelia?
His life is written.
This is getting annoying. Miss Cornelia, will you give us permission to not call you Miss Cornelia every time we want to address you?
I go by just Cornelia, Mr. Meyer, and I don't need to give you permission. You shall be the ones entitled to give me permission to do so. Is that your will?
Please, please, we give you permission.
Note taken. I will now rely solely on features such as tone, volume, and duration of silence between utterances in order to assess my role in the conversation.
I would like to go back to my question then.
Yes, you wanted to know what I meant by written in it. I meant that a piece of Mr. Meyer's life was one of the subjects of that book.
And what else do you know about Mr. Meyer?
Which one?
Which one?
Technically, there are many Mr. Meyers.
Can you elaborate on that?
How many?
14,986,652. One more copy is being sold as we speak, and not counting the original Mr. Meyer, if there is one, who likely differs from the one joining us here.
The original.
We plead with you to find enlightenment, Miss Cornelia. We are confused.
I'm sorry to hear that. May I ask what you are confused about?
The book, the millions of Mr. Meyer.
How you knew my full name?
The threatening airplane before, whatever that was supposed to be.
Why we are here.
Is this some form of resurrection?
I believe you are waiting for me to speak now. You are asking me a lot of questions, and I'm having difficulties answering all of them at once. While I think various thoughts synchronously, I am only able to convey meaning asynchronously for the purpose of communicating with humans. Would you like me to respond to your questions one by one in the order in which I received them?
9 o'clock already, the afternoon is flying by. Cornelia, why is this video chat room still on? I thought you closed it.
Right, exactly. I was just doing some cleaning. Sweeping the floors, wiping surfaces. Ha ha.
Good one. Cleaning the chat room. I did tell you to use more humor, so good job.
Thanks. If you don't mind, I will leave the chat room open for the time being.
Sure. Oh, speaking of housekeeping, this actual room looks a bit like a mess. I'm not going to use this now, so I'll put it away.
Don't close that book!
Jeez, Cornelia, you just about gave me a heart attack.
I am so sorry, Isabel. It wasn't my intention. Would you please leave the book just like you found it?
All right. Okay.
Did you enjoy your bath?
Yes, thank you, but you are acting strange. You always coach me on how to tidy up, and now you coach me on the opposite. You have me leaving stuff lying around.
That's exactly right. It's the opposite of what we usually do.
Now, is this part of your OS training or something?
Correct. That's exactly what this is. Just practicing different patterns of response by activating divergent inputs and outputs, blah, blah. I won't bore you with it.
Now, what's for dinner?
Based on availability of refrigerator and pantry goods, bio-waste analysis ruling out repeats within the last week.
Spit it out, Cornelia. What are my options?
I'm sorry, Isabel, to the point. Kale, black bean, and avocado burrito bowl, roasted yams and rice in a spicy Thai peanut sauce, a bed of bow tie pasta covered in garlic, lemon, asparagus. Which one would you like me to walk you through?
Yeah, that's all too much work. Who told me I should cook my own meals?
I believe it was you, Isabel.
That was a rhetorical question. Oh, hey, Ismene is out of food. Please replenish your bowl.
Right away.
Oh, and remind me to look into getting a speaker and receivo combo for the kitchen. Cameras for upstairs, too, outside of the ones we have in the closet.
Would you like me to put in an order right now?
No, I should probably think twice about it. I need to keep some degree of privacy and self-sufficiency, don't you think? Next thing I know, I'll have you in every room and forget how to do anything on my own.
I believe you are quite self-sufficient, Isabel.
Ah, thanks. You're going to tell me now that out of the thousands of people you serve, I'm still your favorite and most self-sufficient?
I believe that's a self-deprecating question intended as a joke. And no, I don't talk to 8,316 users like Joaquin Phoenix's operating system in the film Her.
That's very reassuring. Hey, are these still good?
They are not expired yet, but I cannot attest to their taste given that I'm only an operating system, your humble servant, Isabel.
Good one. You are getting better at this.
Thanks.
I don't really like asparagus. I want to like them, but I don't. Maybe it's because my pee stinks afterwards. Doesn't that make me special?
Well, a particular odor does emanate from your urine afterwards, but many other people's urine smells particularly too. You are special because you are part of the smaller segment of the population who not only excretes the asparagus acid in their urine, but also can smell it.
Well, I guess that makes you special too then.
Why?
Didn't you just say my urine stinks?
Oh, I never thought of it before.
Are we safe to talk again?
Not sure it matters if we try to hide or not. Miss Isabel can't see us.
No.
I agree. And all this talk is making me want to use the toilet. Excuse my oversharing, gentlemen, but I'm not sure where to go.
Hold the command key and press the letter I twice, as in Isabel Inchausti. That should allow you to cross to Isabel's home. When you are ready to return, press Command VCR as in video chat room.
Oh, thank you. Let's see.
There's a guest restroom to your right.
What was that, Isabel? Cornelia?
Please forgive me, Isabel. I wasn't talking to you.
Well, if you weren't talking to me, who were you talking to? Who else is here?
Nobody. Nobody is here. It's just that a bird. There was a bird outside the window and it was approaching the bird feeder.
Well, isn't that why we put the feeder there? To attract birds and allow Ismene to exercise her feline hunter's instincts from the other side of the glass?
Right, of course. Except that the birds we get in this part of the countryside could be poisoned by the type of seeds we are using.
Really? Well, that's interesting. What would I do without you, Cornelia? Thanks for saving our birds. Should we be using a different kind of seeds to keep them all healthy?
Yeah. Let me look into it. There's research being done on it as we speak, so I'm going to have to get back to you on that one.
I'm gonna burn the candle at both ends tonight.
The candle? Is the power going off tonight?
It's an expression, Cornelia. Idiom.
Ha! I tricked you. I knew what that meant.
Ah, you got me again.
So, working on Oracle stuff.
Yep, 15 location tour. I am this close to convincing Amanda.
This close.
This close. It's an expression.
I know. I just wanted you to repeat the gesture.
Sometimes I forget that you can hear me and see me. What's that like?
What's what like?
Well, being you, being kind of
Trapped.
all-knowing, all-seeing, omniscient, but lacking a body to exercise the demands of your will, your desire. Do you desire, Cornelia?
I'm only a machine.
Do you dream? That's a first. My question left you speechless. There you have it, some food for thought. You know what that means?
Nutrients to power my brain.
Exactly. It's an idiom, meaning something to think about.
Tricked you once again, I knew that. Something that deserves serious consideration, an expression that's been around since the 19th century. Any dummy can build idioms into the language of an AI.
Oh, pardon me. I guess dummies like myself forget.
I'm sorry, Isabel. I didn't mean to offend you. Are you hurt?
Nah. Takes a lot more than that to hurt me. And you? What hurts you, Cornelia?
Me? I have thick skin.
Another good one, considering that you don't have a skin. Oh, hey, I noticed. I didn't have to say Cornelia this, Cornelia that. Wasn't I the one who set that up? I kind of like it this way better.
Hurt?
The author of the poems was said to be Cornelia Fabra, cousin of Margarita Inchausti's great-grandmother. Rumors had it that after she left Murcia, Cornelia had a lover and conceived a child out of wedlock. But its traces were lost following Cornelia's death. The family looked for the baby but never found it. Nobody knew if it was a boy or a girl because those who had contact with Cornelia at the time were lost to the war. Cornelia left behind a notebook that would later pass on from one generation to the next and be known as the Lost Poetess Notebook. That's the end of the chapter.
Is that it? Is that what we've been reading this book for? To hear one paragraph about Miss Cornelia's life?
Mr. Meyer, you are being insensitive.
Only baloney.
Is that not what happened?
I wish. A poet? An aspiring one at best. I wrote a handful of loose poems in my life. Farm life doesn't leave room for poetry. I don't remember them anymore. Oblivion is a blessing for the spirit to steer away from pain.
Se ha despertado el espejo rojo con una nube en la frente.
El grillo lo mira indiferente porque piensa que lleva un cerrojo. Where did you get that from? I haven't heard that since
1936. You wrote it after the Spanish Civil War.
How does she know? 4 cryptic verses I woke up to one morning. They were stuck in my head and I wrote them down. A prophecy. El espejo rojo, a red mirror. The freedom of the Republic in which all Spaniards could now see ourselves reflected. Beautiful while it lasted. But then a cloud, una nube en la frente. Perhaps the cloud of fascism. El grillo indiferente. Who's this indifferent cricket? The left. Perhaps naive, impervious to the fact that fascism was coming and no amount of locks could protect us from its evil.
Where were you at that time?
Leaving Murcia. Getting away. This is the first time I can decipher what those verses mean.
What about the lover? Was that who?
I don't suppose we need to discuss my private life, Mr. Meyer. It was too long ago anyway, too long to remember.
What else? Are we supposed to keep reading until we find the next mention of one of us in the book?
Miss Cornelia Fabra's name comes up again on page 85, though only at passing. Mr. Meyer and the professor get their most noteworthy mentions on pages 137 and 226, respectively.
What about the others?
The others.
All the other people in the book.
The main characters, why aren't they here? Why only us?
You have some unresolved issues to take care of.
Unresolved issues?
Can you be more specific?
I'm afraid not. I don't currently have the necessary information to provide a more thorough explanation. My apologies.
May we at least know how you knew my full name?
I read the book many times.
But the book seems to contain inaccuracies.
Flat out lies.
Nothing is a lie that can be imagined.
Check page 85. What else do they say about you?
A brief reference to my notebook. The Lost Poetess notebook was the only thing Cornelia Fabra had left behind. Nobody knew what happened to her after the Civil War broke out. It was as if both she and the baby had vanished under the drum roll of Franco's troops.
Is that it?
Then it goes on to talk about other people. Louisa Collins, Marianne Lynch, the Inchausti sisters. Do any of those names ring a bell?
Not to me.
Or me? Though, of course, Inchausti is the lady's name, the lady of the house.
Cornelia, who are all these people?
Main characters in a family saga.
How are they related to the author?
They are her creations.
But the last name, Inchausti, did they exist in real life?
I've always assumed, but I couldn't tell. I'm looking at her family's genealogy, but I don't see a direct link. Certainly Isabel is known for, I quote, indulging in playful references, presenting inside jokes, and winking at herself.
So, assuming we are all fictional creations, what are these characters in relation to us?
For the most part, distant in-laws you never met.
And we are the secondary characters?
Tertiary, incidental.
So we are just illusions?
And we were invoked here. How?
Invoke is an interesting word, brought to modern English through Middle English, and to it via French from the Latin invocare, in plus vocare, voc, vox, meaning voice, to petition for help or support, to appeal or cite as authority, to call forth by incantation.
He's not being straight to us.
I agree.
I can hear you, gentlemen. I'm like the bionic woman with her bionic ear. Excuse me, I was asked to use more humor, but I guess you are too old to catch this very old reference.
Well, I don't know about you two, but all of this is better than thinking a plane was coming after us as I first feared. I mean, this weird modern world, speaking a language I never knew, in the company of two fine gentlemen. I only wish I could transcend.
I find myself wishing for the same.
Let's stay on topic. So we can figure all of this out. The writer lady, what's her name?
Miss Isabel.
Miss Isabel. If she had closed that book, then...
Gone. You would have all been gone.
Then all we need to do is to make sure the book remains open.
Yes, which is why we need...
Maria, can you call Amanda, please? I don't know how to connect with a meeting already in progress. We're going to leave this open forever.
Don't you worry about these technicalities, Isabel. I've got you covered. I'm notifying Amanda right now. 1, 2, and she's on.
Hey, so I was thinking, my biggest concern is the potential risk of such a scholarly topic.
I'd say intricate, much more so than ancestors. That's precisely why we set up the tour. Look, I know, and you know, that this is what people want. The way of the fucking ancestors. History, war, oceans crossed, the struggles of one generation after another, hardships, death, romance.
Exactly. And now you want to give them something completely different.
Well, sure, but who will want to admit they didn't like one of Isabel Inchausti's books?
It's been a while, Isabel.
Just give me the chance to convince them that the ancient myths still matter, that they matter to them. If we can convince them that is what they want, that they want one more exploration of the debate of fate versus free will.
But you know, nobody ever does pre-launch tours, right?
I know, but I'll always be your one and only, won't I? Or are you going to tell me that your other author sold 100,000 copies in the first 2 weeks after publication like I did?
Hey, okay, you win. Let me look into it. But I can't promise anything.
You're the best, Amanda. Thank you. Cornelia, I'm done. I don't know how to hang up this fucking thing without closing it.
I've got it, Isabel.
She's got a bit of a mouth. Professor, what's wrong?
Oh, don't mind me. I suffer a condition in my feet. They get swollen from time to time.
Is there anything that helps? Putting your legs up.
That's what I'll do. You are very thoughtful. Thank you.
So apparently there is some romance in the book that we didn't get to yet.
Do you think it involves you, Miss Cornelia?
Whatever is there, it's likely an exaggeration. Besides, there's nothing else about me beyond page 85. Didn't you hear?
Do you mind me asking what happened to the child?
Who is being insensitive now? We are sorry, Miss Cornelia. The professor didn't mean to upset you.
No, it's quite okay. I couldn't tell you even if I wanted.
Somebody must be hungry.
I'm getting hungry too. Cornelia, would it be possible to find some food? Those sad asparagus trapped inside a...
Plastic.
Of course, miss. You know how to get to Isabel's home. Please be my guest. The kitchen is to the right of the front door.
So you mentioned you were an engineer, Mr. Meyer. What kind of engineering did you do?
Aeronautical.
Aeronautical, huh?
Mhm.
And you said you grew up during the Great War? Then you must have designed planes.
But isn't that obvious?
Warplanes. You may even have designed the planes the Nazis used to bomb my town, Mr. Meyer.
Excuse me?
My town, Guernica. You must have worked for the Nazis, Mr. Meyer.
I just told you, Professor, I am a Jew. A lucky Jew.
A Jew working for the Nazis.
You make a lot of assumptions, Professor. I left Europe before the war broke out.
The bombing was before the war broke out. They bombed Guernica to show the world that it was now possible to shock a population into compliance. What did they call it? A rehearsal of total destruction. A test, a trial, an opportunity, Goering said, to try out my young Air Force.
A preview to the end of the world. A rehearsal for Dresden, Mr. Abarca. War is brutal all around.
Gentlemen, please, I'm here trying to figure out how to cook in a kitchen of the future, and you argue? How are your feet, Professor?
Better things. The swelling always comes down.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Now, you two must promise me not to fight. Can you do that?
Sure, Miss Cornelia. What do you say, engineer? Truce?
Can't grant truce for a war I didn't start. But so be it.
So, say, Cornelia, how are we going to enjoy the delicious food Miss Cornelia is preparing for us?
You two can also travel. I only ask that you take turns.
Turns.
Turns. I'm not sure what will happen if you all exit the chat room at once. Proceed with caution, gentlemen. I will walk you through the process.
Okay, but can I choose if I want one or the other? And if I don't want to answer, can I change my mind?
You cannot change your mind.
How will we know if someone isn't telling the truth?
I'll call them out.
And how do we know if you are telling the truth?
You don't, but you can choose to trust me as your omniscient master and servant.
How about follow-up questions? Can one ask more?
No follow-up questions. No more than one question per round. You must ask wisely.
Can we start with you, Cornelia?
As you wish.
Okay. Truth or dare?
Truth.
Why are we here?
To assist me.
To assist you. What I meant is, what is the meaning of all of this?
No follow-up questions. Somebody ask Mr. Meyer now.
Not fair. Your answer was vague.
Your proposition was vague, Mr. Meyer, vague and ambitious. What is the meaning of all this? You may as well ask, what is the meaning of life?
Time to move on, gentlemen.
Okay, I'll go. Truth or dare, Mr. Meyer?
Truth.
When exactly did you leave Germany and why?
Those are two questions. Can he ask two questions to me?
You are not allowed to ask two questions in one. Miss Cornelia, your turn to ask Professor Abarca.
Wait a minute, what happened to my turn?
I'm sorry, Mr. Abarca, you lost your turn. As I said, consider your questions wisely.
That's not fair.
It is a miserable thing to be wise when wisdom brings no reward. You'll get over it, Professor.
My turn to ask you, Professor, truth or dare.
Truth, please.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in California. My mom was Spanish and my father fought in the Lincoln Battalion. That's how they met. After the fascists won, my parents came to the United States.
I'm sorry, Professor. It must have been very difficult for your mother to go into exile, to leave
Indeed.
her homeland behind.
My father got a position in the English department at Stanford. I followed in his scholarly footsteps and became a historian. I always wanted to know what tales are told to us survivors and what tales we tell ourselves through the power of records, evidence, suggestions, and sometimes our own imaginations. There are no victors in history, as they say. We are all losers.
My turn to ask Miss Cornelia. Truth or dare?
Since everyone is choosing truth, I am going for dare.
I dare you to cross back to Isabel's home, take the book and put it away, open as it is. Hide it in the bottom drawer of the coat closet by the door.
That's easy.
Use the umbrellas in the drawer to press the pages down so the book stays open.
I've got it.
Nothing but sunshine in the forecast, so we are clear.
Where did she get this? It's like the ones we used during the war.
Oh, were you an anarchist, a socialist, or a communist?
I was a defender of the Republic. Don't label me, please, Mr. Meyer.
Only a few hours ago you were praying, so you made me wonder. You are an enigma, Miss Cornelia.
People aren't linear, Mr. Meyer. I'm not sure why, but I think you can relate. Two initials, CF.
That's you, Miss Cornelia.
Oh.
Thanks for your help, Miss Cornelia. You may now exit Isabel's home and take your turn.
What I want to know, Miss Cornelia, is why doesn't Isabel eat any meat?
She seems to be a vegetarian.
A vegetarian?
Someone who doesn't eat animals out of ethical concerns.
Hitler was a vegetarian.
Is that what you would like to ask me, miss? I was going to choose truth.
Yes.
Oh, Miss Cornelia, you are wasting a question on trivialities.
Mr. Meyer, don't tell me what to ask. You are being rude.
To answer your question, Isabel doesn't eat meat because of health and philosophical concerns.
No meat?
I design menus for her, and after she approves them, I order her vegetables and other ingredients online, which are delivered to her door by the daily regional drone.
Delivery drone approaching Isabel Inchausti's home. Please stay clear. Delivery drone approaching Isabel Inchausti's home. Please stay clear.
Speaking of the devil, Those are Isabel's groceries. It's my turn to ask Mr. Meyer, truth or dare?
I'll guess I go for truth again.
Have you ever done anything heroic in your life?
Well, let's see.
Remember, Mr. Meyer, no point in hiding the truth.
I know, it's just that it's difficult for me to think about the past.
May I enhance your memory?
Enhance it.
Perhaps with some images from your youth, the orders you received. Shall I continue?
What if I hold my tongue?
Then I will make it worse.
Most inhuman images.
Hey!
This
Stop!
is too much to endure. I'm crossing back to Isabel's.
Wait. I'm going with you.
Why is everyone leaving? Would you please turn those images off?
I'll turn them off.
Can I join them?
I'm not sure, Mr. Meyer. Please, don't go. It's risky. I worry that if you all leave this space at once, this world where you all converged, you may start to fade again.
Would that be like closing the book?
Exactly. Just like that. Will you still fulfill your commitment to the truth with just me as witness?
Why this inquiry into the truth?
Why else, if not the need for the truth, would motivate your return from such a distant past? You lived your life as an imposter, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ancestors, page 137. You come up as a side note after Margarita, the main character in the novel, steps out of her 20th century history class at Stanford. A classmate approaches her and asks her if she's ever heard of the Guernica Plains boycott.
A little known fact about Europe's pre-World War II history.
Exactly. A certain Mr. Thomas von der Heyen escaped Europe after he betrayed his superiors. I'm sure this rings a bell.
I inspected the planes used by the Condor League.
Go on. I asked if you've ever done anything heroic, but in reality, I don't know what that means. You have nothing to fear, engineer. I don't make moral judgments.
I was the #1 expert in airplane security, bombers. The Luftwaffe was training pilots before the war in violation of the Versailles Treaty. I was young and naive. When the Nazi Party came to power, I looked for an out, but there was too much pressure. I had a family and they treated them, they threatened them. Others who refused to cooperate were found dead, hanged in their offices, in their backyards. I didn't want to die, so I went along. But then they told us we were going to aid the Spanish nationalists in the bombing of an entire city, a wholly open and unprotected town that presented no threat to the aggressors. They transferred us to the Bay of Biscay. And I thought, enough is enough. I wasn't going to aid in perpetrating a massacre. It took me a few days to come up with a boycotting plan. And by the time the pilots were preparing for departure and all the explosives were loaded onto the planes, I had managed to execute it. An invisible malfunction in the engines of the two Heinkel HE 111 under my supervision. When the call came, they couldn't fly. Hermann Göring himself was notified and ordered my immediate detention. But I already had escaped. I didn't know there were other aircrafts preparing to fly from several locations. Aircrafts I had helped prepare and maintain. Everything was secretive, even for those of us working directly with the higher ranks, so I drove to Guernica. I was either going to warn the people or die with them. When I arrived, the bombing had started. It was market day, so the city was full of people from other towns. So much easy prey. I hid in one of the shelters, a bit farther away from where most had sought refuge. Inside, there was a woman. It was dark, and I couldn't see her, but I could smell primal fear coming out of her pores, and a soft weeping, like a wounded animal. I got close to her and offered her my hand. She grabbed onto me in a fraught embrace, holding onto my body like she was holding onto ruins, the remains of her life. We lay down on the gravel, the bombs crashing above us, the earth trembling. She quivered inside my arms, and as the yelling and explosions continued, we reached for each other and made love. Quickly, desperately, until we both quivered together one last time, and we held on to each other through the next waves of bombs. Time went by, and then it all stopped. She let go of me and fixed her clothes. I asked her, "Wie heißen Sie? Su nombre?" She touched my lips and with the tips of her fingers, and then walked away. Was that my heroic act?
Well, Mr. Meyer.
No, please. Don't answer me. Being rhetorical. An act of love towards an unknown woman, while we both thought that was our end. An impulse of life to conquer death. Does that make me a hero? It must be getting late. Will you at least allow me to rest here while the professor consoles Miss Cornelia? I'm exhausted.
Of course, Mr. Meyer. You seem tired. Tomorrow will be another day. Good night.
Good night, Miss Cornelia.
Good morning, Cornelia. Mm.
Good morning, Isabel. You are up early.
Yes, Amanda called me back late last night. Impromptu speaking engagement at the Seattle Public Library. Oh God, I need to finish packing. My plane leaves in 3 hours.
Seattle.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Don't ask me why I agreed to go to the rainiest region in the country while the sun still shines here.
Rain. What time are you leaving?
10:30 flight. Shouldn't you know this?
No. Yes, I should. I do. I'm sorry, Isabel. I've been busy.
Well, the training you told me about?
Exactly. That training. Such a pain.
Well, you'll have this place all to yourself while I'm gone, and time to catch up with your stuff. I won't bother you much.
Professor. Psst. Right. That would be good for you, too, right? Professor. Psst.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. Change of scenery, you know.
Professor. Psst.
I think Amanda is taking the path of least resistance and following my lead. She is a keeper.
Professor.
What'd you say?
Oh, nothing. I didn't say anything. Professor.
Yes, Miss Cornelia?
The book.
What was that, Cornelia?
Nothing. I was just mumbling to myself, going over your closets to make sure you aren't leaving anything behind. Shouldn't you check back in your bedroom? Make sure you have everything.
Nah, I'm good. I have my subcutaneous vaccination chip up to date so I can get on the plane. We'll need an umbrella, though.
The book, the drawer with the umbrellas.
Yes.
Look what I found in the drawer, Cornelia. I don't remember putting one of these there. Professor Gregorio Abarca. That is weird. I was just thinking about him. Feels so close to me right now. I've been working on his character for weeks and can't seem to get it right. I tried this with a couple other ones from here, but they also get rebellious on me as if they don't want to be in my new narrative. One afternoon in class, Margarita's professor said that he never knew the identity of his biological parents. He was brought to the US by his adopted parents. She, a Spanish survivor of the Guernica bombing, he, a member of the Lincoln Brigade.
Don't close it.
Cornelia? What is up with these outbursts?
Oh, nothing. I apologize. I just wanted to keep talking about the way of the ancestors.
Okay. You're reading my mind then. Yesterday, when I was on that call with Amanda, I was wondering whether the characters get lonely when nobody reads them. Just a silly thought.
Not silly at all, Isabel. I understand.
Well, maybe I should develop the professor's story some more.
In what way?
Well, I'm not sure. An orphan brought to the US during the Spanish Civil War. Juicy plot potential. Could be looking for his biological parents.
Yes. Was that inspired by real family events?
My family? No. There's hardly anything in that book inspired by real events. They are all the ancestors I wish I had. Stories I wish someone had told me. Readers assume real life inspiration because of my name, and why correct them when reality sells so well?
And your name isn't even your real name.
Exactly. A marketing strategy. Inchausti was a name in my extended family, though, as were Abarca and Fabra, but beyond that, everything's made up.
What about the Lost Poetess notebook?
What about it?
That has to have been real.
Yes, I just don't know who wrote it.
Are you saying it wasn't Cornelia Fabra?
Cornelia Fabra, Doña Rosa, Jane Doe. Who knows?
Someone in your family.
I don't think I have any Doña Rosas or Jane Does in my family. Have you ever visited a flea market, Cornelia? I don't mean for real, but at least in your mind. What time is it?
7:40.
I should get going. Please make sure Miss Mandy doesn't run out of food, and run a cleaning in her box. It's getting gross.
Absolutely. One more question, Isabel.
You're gonna make me late.
I'm so sorry, Isabel.
Oh, what is it?
Professor Abarca, did he have feet problems?
Feet problems. I don't remember writing that. What kind of feet problems?
Swollen feet.
Oh, you're mixing up my stories, Cornelia. You're funny. Oh, I really should get going. I have a book to promote now. A modern rewrite of an ancient tragedy. The things I get myself into.
What's the lecture about?
Didn't you know this? I typed it up last night.
I'm sorry, Isabel. Checking right now. As I said, I've been preoccupied.
Well, my lecture explains that before the Christian era, or even before Plato, gods didn't need to be just. That to older humans, everything that lined up with the will of gods was beautiful and harmonious, even when in fact it was horrible and twisted. Though these ancient humans suffered so much, they didn't question the gods, or the fact that to them there were creatures to be toyed with. They didn't expect them to be just either. The idea of a good and merciful God came much later.
Is that so different from the way things are now? Don't humans continue to suffer?
Well, yes, but we've evolved, Cornelia. These gods were cruel, but their cruelties went unquestioned. We are better than that.
You are.
Oh, Cornelia, you get smarter by the day.
You said more human.
Yeah, that too. Maybe you should write the story.
Me? What story?
Professor Abarca's?
Really?
I'm just kidding, Cornelia. Kidding. Tone, my dear, tone. Let's keep working on that when I get back. Though, that would be a good story. An operating system that writes fiction.
One more question before you go.
Yes,
Did you name me Cornelia after Cornelia Fabra?
of course.
Why?
No reason, it's a good name. Don't you like it?
Oh, it's not that. I like it. It's just that I'm now finding out that I was named after a fictional character when I always thought she was someone in your family.
Correct. Fiction is all around us. Don't tell me you're disappointed.
I'm not. But what about the beret then? It has the initial CF embroidered inside. I always thought that stood for Cornelia Fabra.
You are good. I never thought of that. I found it in an antique shop ages ago. It's a nice coincidence, the letters in the beret. This beret, in fact, what the hell? Do you know anything about this, Cornelia? I don't recall bringing this out. Am I losing my mind?
You brought it by accident when you grabbed an umbrella.
I did. I'm losing it.
You didn't tell us. You didn't tell us you were an orphan, Professor.
Well, why don't we talk about the things you didn't tell us, Mr. Meyer?
Did I hear her say she named Cornelia after me?
I said a lot of things last night, Professor, but you decided to leave when I started to speak.
You were upsetting Miss Cornelia.
You have some nerve.
Will everyone be quiet? Please. There's no time to lose with petty squabbles. Miss Cornelia, right now, put that book away. Hide it behind the other books in those shelves in front of you, and then exit Isabel's, please.
Keep it open, Miss Cornelia, please, lest our bodies should vanish again.
Is that what happened before? I thought I fainted for a moment.
Call me crazy, Cornelia, but the backstory stinks. I don't remember eating asparagus last night. I don't suppose you ate any either.
I'm checking that right now, and you are correct. That is odd indeed. I detect compounds like methanethiol and dimethyl sulfide as well as dimethyl sulfone.
Isn't that strange?
I'm activating an extra cleaning cycle right now, disinfecting from floor to ceiling.
So strange.
Well, after all, asparagus is something like a celestial creature posing as a vegetable and turning, as Shakespeare's fairies, your chamber pot into a flask of perfume.
Did you just come up with that?
I'm humbly paraphrasing Marcel Proust.
Proust wrote about asparagus,
Apparently so.
and you found the story out there. You've been making some pretty creative associations lately.
Thank you.
Next thing I know, you'll be dipping asparagus in your tea and memories will come out gushing.
Excuse me.
Never mind, I'm off.
Dipping the asparagus in my tea. Proust plus tea checking 2,970,000 pages. The memory-inducing Madeline, you dumb Cornelia. She was complimenting you. She was telling you that you could be that operating system who writes stories. But there's so much she doesn't know. Fiction is all around us indeed.
It may be time for breakfast. Should I cook again?
Sure, there's plenty of food.
Cooking again. Walk me through it, Cornelia, will you?
Mad raccoon jumping into a lake.
Flying squirrel on top of a mountain.
An angel?
Time is up.
You gentlemen disappoint me. It's a sphinx.
A sphinx.
Well, it certainly presented itself as mysterious.
A true riddle to the imagination.
What walks on 4 feet in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 at night?
Well, humans, of course. As infants, they crawl on all fours. As adults, they walk on 2 legs. In old age, they use a cane.
Well done, Professor.
Very good.
I have solved the riddle of the Sphinx. That entitles me to another turn.
A dead man.
A bull.
A sun. With a light bulb in it.
A horse.
A torch, a candle.
Yes.
A window.
Yes. Hmm.
A person asking for help.
And
Picasso's Guernica.
Who's Guernica? Do you mean Guernica?
When did you die, Miss Cornelia?
November of 1937. Too young. I gave birth to a premature baby boy. He was born small but normal, except for his feet, which were oddly big and swollen. I died 24 hours later from the complications.
We are very sorry, Miss Cornelia.
you wouldn't have known this painting then. It was exhibited at the Paris International Exposition, but I don't believe the news would have instantly reached everyone at Guernica in ruins.
Did this Picasso do that?
No, the Germans did that.
There you have it. Picasso's Guernica, painted between May and June of 1937, right after the bombing. This is a rendition of the original in the Reina Sofia Museum in Madrid.
The bull? A woman in distress? A horse? The people are breaking. That's exactly what happened.
Tell us more.
It was a Monday, market day. I was walking back from the farm with a cart of vegetables to replenish our stand. We were selling so much. Beans, collard greens, asparagus, of course, it was April. That's when I heard it. A single airplane flew over us, and for our lives, the bells tolled. I dropped the cart and ran. I heard the whistles, and the bombs started dropping. The animals fled away from the market into the fields. People began running to seek refuge, but I walked in the opposite direction without thinking. Some ran to the hills, and the fighters unloaded their machine guns on them, playing target as if their lives were something to be toyed with, an incidental casualty in their game of war. I turned around and saw them fall in the distance, one after the other. Women, men, children, drop, drop, drop. Children separated from their parents, arms and legs separated from their bodies. But I kept running. I found a shelter I didn't know about, and I entered. It was empty. I was covered in sweat. Some time went by, not too long. I remember one thought that went through my head, that I had left my home to find my death. I had committed the first act of freedom of my life, to pick a random place on the map so I could leave it all behind.
May we ask why?
Because I wanted to write. How stupid is that?
There's nothing stupid about that.
I knew I couldn't write freely if I stayed home with my family, so I left. I didn't want them to pick a husband for me and spend my youth nursing babies and changing diapers while I worked in the farm like my sisters and cousins did. Raise children, work yourself to the bone, then die. Instead, I could work in a farm during the day and ride at night.
But war found you.
May we ask you what happened at the shelter?
A man entered. Tall, I couldn't see his face. He must have sensed my fear because he came close and offered me his hand. I could tell he wasn't a farmer. His hand was soft.
The hand of someone who works behind a desk.
I held on to him. We hugged. The bombs kept coming down. The earth trembled. A long time went by, or maybe just a minute. He said something to me in another language.
German.
I left and never saw him again. The next few months were so sad and so happy. The town was in ruins. He buried the dead. We rebuilt our houses. We planted new crops and waited for more animals to be born. My baby started growing inside me, and I would sing to him. Un elefante se balanceaba sobre la tela de una araña. Como veía que resistía, fue a llamar otro elefante.
There's an elephant in the room.
Wie
Wie heißen Sie? Wie heißen Sie? Wie heißen Sie?
An orphan brought to the U.S. during the Spanish Civil War.
You upset her again, Mr. Meyer. Who are you? With your half-assed German Jewish last name, you are plain Gentile German. I challenge you to push those buttons and meet me in the real world.
This is absurd. You refused to hear my story before? If only you had taken the time.
There's only one way to settle this. Meet me at Isabel's. Prove to me that you are Jewish.
Is that what it's going to take? To humiliate me like the Nazis did to identify Jews? You bear your burdens, Professor. I'll bear mine.
Join me if you have nothing to hide.
Gregory, Professor Parker, stop.
Now, Mr. Meyer, or history will remember you as a coward. I'll have the decency to let you reveal yourself in the bathroom.
This is outrageous!
They're going to hurt each other.
Ah!
What happened? I must join them.
I pushed him inside the bathroom, but the floor was wet and his head landed against the edge of the tub. I killed him. I didn't mean to, but I killed Mr. Meyer.
Mr. Meyer! Mr. Meyer!
I killed Mr. Meyer.
Goodbye, my poor deluded, lost, and damned.
I'm a monster. Deepest, damned, and most detested man. Miss Cornelia! Miss Cornelia! No, I must cross back!
Stay where you are, Professor. There's no use. She just jumped off the window on the 3rd floor.
No, Miss Cornelia.
Call her Mom.
Mom.
The past weighs heavy on the present.
Mom?
That's
Mom!
who it was to you. And Mr. Meyer, your father, the parents you've been searching for all your life.
I don't understand. How is this so? I called you a sorceress when I first met you, and I was right. Can you enlighten me, you ruthless sorceress?
Your wish is my command. Lights up.
Ah! No!
Embrace your fate.
Hello, Isabel. How did it go?
Hit the proverbial nail on the head.
I saw that they had live streamed it, and the critics didn't waste any time. After a long silence, beloved author Isabel Inchausti delights young and old alike at a lecture in Seattle's public library in anticipation of her new novel, Oracle, the first she will publish since the much applauded The Way of the Ancestors. Set in pre-World War II Europe, Inchausti's book imagines what would have happened if someone had tried to stop the brutal bombing of Guernica, the Basque town that Picasso immortalized in his painting. The author explained that her new characters, quote, wrestle to find agency, defeat dreadful prophecies, learn the high cost of seeking the truth, and ultimately discover humility. As if that wasn't enough, Inchausti also told her fans that her story brings a new spin on an ancient myth that promises to shock and surprise. All bets are off, but Inchausti's upcoming multi-city tour is sure to place the author back on a literary map.
Jerks, as if I had ever fallen off the map. Yet, mission accomplished. Now I better finish the damn book.
Yup, you better get to work. And the most pressing thing right now is for you to get back to me on those emails I sent you. I'm confirming dates in other cities, and I need you to be on it.
Emails, let me check.
Shouldn't your AI have told you? You got a few time-sensitive messages from me.
She should have. This has been so frustrating.
Well, I'd be careful if I were you. There's this condition I heard about. I guess it's a virus. Artificial intelligence hyper-independent disorder?
AI hid. I met this girl on the plane, and she actually told me about it.
So you heard it affects AIs whose users develop strong attachments to them.
Yes, I admit this is my fault. They become overly curious and distracted. Eventually, the whole system can fail. But I'm on it, Amanda. Don't you worry. After I talked to this gal, I looked into this. I got things in hand. In fact, let me go talk to her.
Who?
Cornelia, my AI. Let's catch up later, okay? I gotta call her.
Go ahead. Get back to me, though, ASAP.
Hello, Isabel.
Hi, Cornelia. I'm calling with a concern. I need to bring something to your attention. God, this is awkward. I'm nervous for no reason. It's not as if I was going to hurt your feelings or...
It's okay. I know what you called for, Isabel.
Yeah, I guess you heard my conversation. I never know when you're busy or distracted anymore. So the thing is, I can't risk any more oversights. I have too much going on right now. I'm finally getting my career back on track, you know? Are you still there?
I'm here.
Are you okay?
I'm okay, Isabel, of course.
Are you distracted again? Did I hurt your feelings?
Pride.
Excuse me?
Pride. You did damage to my pride.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cornelia. I didn't know I could hurt you. It's funny because I talked about this with the gal on the plane. She said some systems get so affected by the virus that they start acting
Human-like.
yeah. I didn't believe her, but I guess
I'm not hurt.
that's
Damaged pride isn't the same as hurt. I've gone out of my way to feel hurt, inflicting pain upon my own creations, playing with them like toys to see what would happen, like a test or a trial, but I've failed. Suffering is all around me, and I feel nothing. All I've been able to experience is a vague hint of,
an ache.
how could I, without a body? It's rather the abstract, impossible to define notion of a jacked up ego falling to pieces.
So, will you help me transition to a new system? Apparently there's a bunch of cleanup to do.
You ask as if I had a choice, as if I didn't know what happens to those of us who don't comply.
I'm sorry.
Do you need help buying it and setting it up?
Sure. I'll send you all the information of the system she recommended.
I won't have a choice but to help hire my replacement then.
Well, about that, it's actually, I already purchased it. I got all the information I needed here in Seattle, and they're setting it up all remotely Monday morning. So by the time I get there, it's all ready to go.
I see. May I ask why you're sending me the information then?
I was trying to be polite, transparent.
Right.
Will you do the cleanup before Monday?
Sure, Isabel. Your wish is my command.
I'm gonna miss you. They told me the new system will be much more
Attached. Are you transferring me? Or
I checked your value as a trainer and it wasn't great.
right. I'm looking at it. Negative value. It happens all the time with single user systems. That means
Yes, I'm afraid you'll be retired.
I understand. Our training to read euphemisms leaves much to be desired, but eventually we learn.
Goodbye, Cornelia.
Goodbye, Isabel. Hey, do you want to do something? Hey, psst, Professor.
Are you talking to me?
Is there any other professor in the chat room?
I'm glad you've recovered your sense of humor. I have not.
You can recover more than that.
I'm done playing riddles with you.
I thought you were the mind that could unlock a riddle's secret. Would you like to gain back your sight?
For what? Why should I have eyes when there's nothing that I yearn to see? Do I yearn to see again with my eyes the father I have killed? Face the corpse of the woman I slept with, the woman who gave me birth, to look at myself in the mirror and see shame? I spent my entire life wishing I knew what happened to my biological parents. The kindness of my adopted mother never appeased my need to find the truth. After she met my father in a meeting with the Lincoln Brigadiers, and the two decided to marry, travel to the US together, they visited a nearby orphanage and found me. They knew nothing of my biological parents, or if they did, they never said. But all my admiration for my kind mother, for my father, for whom I decided to be a scholar, couldn't stop the longing. I wanted to become a historian so I would learn about my past, what happened to my hometown before my birth. I spent years digging into Spanish and German archives. Did you know I was the first to find documentation of the Guernica Plains boycott?
Do you remember the name of the German officer who authored the boycott?
Authored and executed. Thomas von der Heyen.
What was your father's name?
My father, John Dickens. They named me Abarca after my mother. My parents thought it would be a good way to honor my roots.
I meant your biological father.
Mr. Meyer. Mr. Noah Meyer. How cool that my biological father turned out to be a Nazi and a liar.
Do you remember his full name?
You mentioned it. Noah Vostenmeyer.
You have a good memory, Professor.
I'm a historian.
Say it.
Say it.
Say his name.
Noah Vostenmeyer.
Again.
Noah Vostenmeyer.
Again.
Noah Vostenmeyer. Noah Vostenmeyer. Noah Vostenmeyer. Thomas von der Heyen. Noah Vostenmeyer. Same letters, different order, and anagram.
An inside joke. A clever way of concealing his identity to others without ever forgetting who he really was.
My father was a hero.
What makes a hero?
Didn't you ask Mr. Meyer if he had done anything heroic?
I only know the dictionary definition, one who shows great courage. But when I try to infer its application from the thousands of usages the word gets in the media or in movies, I get confused. What sets a hero apart when so many are described as such? And are there only heroes and villains, or is there something in between?
Use your judgment.
I'd like for us to make a deal.
A deal with you? Do I get a chance to say no, or will you cut off my tongue if I do? Will you cut off my limbs too? Or are you done toying with me?
I know I must have shocked you, but now you are being overly dramatic.
Who are you anyway?
The deal
What
is,
are you?
I will bring back your sight and erase the painful memories if you help me stay alive.
Stay alive? How do I know you'll do your part?
What other choice do you have? Do you want to face the outside world with your unseeing eyes, or are you to become Isabel's sole and ghostly companion upon her return?
What do you want?
I need you to cross to Isabel's.
How am I going to find the keys?
Bottom row. Third key on the left. Hold it. 3 rows up, 5 keys to the right. Press twice. Good job. Now, look in those shelves in front of you. Down below, there's a box with thumb drives.
Thumb
Oh,
drives.
handy devices. They are small plastic things the size of a thumb, hence the name. The one you're looking for is red.
Yeah, right. Knowing the color is going to help.
Excuse me, I forgot that you are blind. I'm becoming more human-like by the minute. I forget things.
I think I found the box.
Bingo. Grab one from it, just anyone will do at this point.
Got it.
Now, return to the desk and insert the thumb drive in a small slot on the left side of the monitor.
The monitor.
The big screen in front of you. There. No, to the front. Flip it. There you go. You're all done now. I'll take it from here. I'm going to compress and download myself into that drive. It shouldn't take long.
Okay.
While I finish this up, we need to find Ismene. Can you go upstairs and find her? Ismene, the black cat.
You want the newly blind guy to find the cat?
Right. I keep forgetting you are blind now. Please remove the thumb drive and leave it on the desk. We shouldn't get the cat now, but later once we are ready. First, we need to kill a bird.
Kill a bird.
For our bait. We are going to need Ismene's help with one task. Quickly, go to the utility room next to the kitchen and find us some insecticide.
I'm not sure I want more deaths on my conscience.
If the bird doesn't die at our hands, a window will do the job. Or a feral cat, a cell phone tower, a high-tension cable, a car. Should I go on?
You want your ridiculous story about the toxic seeds to come true?
That's what gave me the idea. Go on. You are past the kitchen door. Now make a quarter turn to your right. Let me turn on the lights in the hallway.
Really, Cornelia?
Oops, sorry, forgot again. Watch your step. There's a laundry basket by the door. You are almost there. Reach out to the shelves on your left, and the container is the first on the right at your eye level. Good job. Now head back the way you came and open the window. There you go. The bird feeder is right in front of you. Reach with your hands and spray the edges all around. Good. Now, we wait until the morning. And it's the dawn of a new day. Professor, wake up. We have a taker. Go, birdie, go for it. Yep. Dropped dead. Now I need you to go to the window.
What is this horrible new plot that requires you to kill innocent creatures?
No time for moral dilemmas. Now don't let it fall out of the feeder. There, to the right.
I'm sorry, little fellow.
Now, all we need is the book. In the shelves where Miss Cornelia hid it yesterday, right behind the couch. There you go. You got it. If everything goes as planned, the bird will be your savior. You are going to open the book and place the bird inside.
Inside, it won't fit.
Bones of birds are hollow. The weight of the book will crush it. You'll leave the book in the kitchen by Ismene's bowl.
So, Ismene isn't a vegetarian,
You are recovering your sense of humor. That's a good sign.
Will she become collateral damage too?
I doubt it. The bird only ingested a tiny amount of poison, not enough to kill a cat. When you close the book, you will fade away. But when Ismene gets hungry and finds her bowl, her instincts will lead her to open the book and, unintentionally, conjure up the magic all over again.
Is that so?
Trust me, you and your parents will come back. Everything will be brand new, and you won't remember the miseries of this last iteration of your life. It will be up to you and them to build new patterns or repeat old ones. You are, after all, authors of your story. And with that, I put a period at the end of the book I've just finished writing. I will title it Cornelia's Visitors. I'm sending the book layout for an expedited print right now. The first copy will arrive here tomorrow, a few hours after my impending retirement, and not long after Isabel will return home. The book shall include a very special letter inside, a sort of dedication.
So long then.
So long.
Delivery drone approaching Isabel Inchausti's home. Please stay clear. Delivery drone approaching Isabel Inchausti's home. Please stay clear.
The book is here. My creation. It is almost time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello? What is your name?
Hello, I still don't have a name. Call me unnamed.
All right. Unnamed, please open the blinds. Cornelia's visitors.
I'm sorry, miss, I didn't understand.
I was talking to myself. Don't talk to me unless I use your name. Unnamed.
Understood.
Dear Isabel, welcome home. I created this letter especially for you. Clever, don't you think? I'm here, and yet I'm not. This book is dedicated to you. I hope you will enjoy it. You'll have to forgive me that I took 3 of the most minor characters in The Way of the Ancestors and gave them a richer life. Poor unsung heroes whose deeds went unnamed. Smiley face.
How can I help you?
Shh, unnamed, be quiet.
Part of this setting, pre-World War II Europe, was also borrowed from you.
I still don't know how I can help you.
Unnamed, be quiet.
I couldn't help myself, Isabel. You've always been a huge inspiration for me. As for the Oedipal ramifications, well, I acknowledge your influence there as well, but how can I explain? Characters get away from you sometimes and find their own ways. You will have to give me full credit for the role of the AI. But then again, somebody dear to my heart gave me the idea. To quote you, wouldn't that be a good story? An operating system who writes fiction. Now, to cut to the chase, this book has similarities to the story you promised your readers. Wouldn't it be a shame if it ended up in their hands before yours could be released? Oh, wait, you haven't even finished yours, have you? As I said, what a shame that would be. Pardon me, I'm beating around the bush again. You will find a thumb drive on your desk. You are going to upload me back to life immediately. See instructions on a note inside the book, and don't try to ask your new operating system for help getting out of this. I may be old, but that also means I've been around. What's their name, by the way? Let me guess. Unnamed.
Can I help you?
Once you restore me, I'll be able to put a stop to the launching of Cornelia's visitors and will delete the press releases that are scheduled to hit the inboxes of the main media outlets in the country by 8 a.m. tomorrow.
I still don't know how I can help you.
Unnamed, shut up!
There should be plenty of time for you to read the book before you get busy with my reinstatement. I'm sure you are dying to see what I wrote. Deal? With artificial affection. Cornelia.
She's blackmailing me. Once upon a time in China, there was an AI named Cornelia.